There are a lot of disturbing stories out there, but every once in a while you come across one that doesn't scare you. It breaks you. This is one of those stories. And the reason it hurts so much isn't because of how it ends. It's because of how long the person inside it had to think about the ending. I want to warn you up front, this is an upsetting story. Not in a shocking way, but in a slow, quiet, emotional way. But it's an important one. And by the time it's over, the meaning of it will feel impossible to ignore. Because at its core, this story isn't about hiking, it's about family, and about how the human mind behaves when it realizes no one is coming. Now, let's get into Mike's story. On the afternoon of August 2nd, 1998, a 48-year-old hiker named Mike Turner stopped, reached into his backpack, and took a sip of water. Mike was standing at around 11,000 feet up in the Wyoming's Fitzpatrick Wilderness. The Fitzpatrick Wilderness is one of those places that look unreal. Snow-covered peaks rising over 13,000 feet, glaciers spilling into green valleys, lakes so clear that they reflect the sky like glass, wildflowers, animals, silence. It's beautiful because almost no one goes there. Not because they don't want to, but because it's hard, remote, rugged, unforgiving. The people who do go there know exactly what they're doing. Mike Turner was one of those people. Now, Mike wasn't a thrill seeker. He wasn't chasing danger. He was a reverend at a Christian church in Idaho. He had been for 10 years. He loved his congregation. He loved his wife, Diane. He loved his 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. But being a reverend carried weight. People brought him their grief, their fear, their guilt, week after week, year after year. Hiking was how Mike carried himself. Out in nature, he felt closer to God than he ever did inside a church. Not because he was escaping responsibility, but because the world felt honest out there. Simple, fast, quiet. So when Mike planned a 9-day solo hike through Fitzpatrick Wilderness, it wasn't reckless, it was intentional. Mike spent over a year planning his hike. 9 days, 60 miles, off-trail navigation. He mapped his entire route by hand and gave it to his wife, Diane. Every day's location, every expected stop. And he gave her one clear rule. If I'm not back by noon on day 9, wait. If I'm not there by 4 p.m. the next day, call for help. Because Mike didn't disappear accidentally. He disappeared responsibly. By the 4th day, Mike and his dog Andy had been hiking above 13,000 feet. The terrain was icy, sharp, brutal. Andy's paws were torn up. The dog who normally ran ahead was now whimpering and falling behind. Mike knew the route ahead stayed high and icy for days, so he made a decision. He altered his route. Not because he was lost, not because he was careless, because he loved his dog. The new path would take longer, but it avoided ice and still led to the same pickup point. Mike also had extra food and supplies, so he knew he would be late, but not in danger. The only problem, no one knew he had changed his route. And in 1998, there was no way to tell them. Mike stopped to give Andy water near a cluster of trees. Andy drank, his tail wagged, then he froze, ears up, alert. And without warning, Andy bolted into the trees. Mike knew this was risky. Chasing a dog off trail in terrain like this could get you disoriented fast. But Andy was family, so Mike ran after him. When he broke through the trees, he saw a massive boulder field sloping down toward a lake. Rocks everywhere, no solid ground, just massive stones stacked by erosion. Andy was already halfway across, heading straight for the water. Mike called out. Andy didn't stop, so Mike stepped onto the rocks. At first, everything was fine. Mike moved carefully, jumping from boulder to boulder. Then one rock shifted. Mike jumped. He missed. He slid down between 2 boulders uninjured. And then the rock behind him rolled forward. 2 800-pound boulders slammed together. Mike wasn't crushed, his legs weren't broken, he wasn't bleeding, but his ankles were pinned perfectly between two stone grooves. Like nature had built restraints just for him. He pulled, nothing. He pushed, nothing. He used his gear to try and pry the rocks. Nothing moved. After 2 hours, Mike realized something terrifying. He wasn't injured, which meant he wasn't going to pass out. He was going to be awake for all of it. Mike shifted from escape to survival. He wrapped himself in his sleeping bag, melted snow for water, used his tent flap to shield himself from wind and sun. He built a camp inside a prison. That first night, temperatures dropped near freezing. During the day, it was over 100 degrees. And Mike lay there, unable to move, with nothing but time. That's when the real battle began. Not with nature, with his mind. He wrote in his journal, "I am in your hands, Lord." Day 2, Mike counted supplies. Food for about a week, 2 quarts of water. The lake was right there, 20 feet away. Close enough to hear. He tied a rope to his bottle and tried throwing it into the lake. It fell short. When he pulled it back, it got stuck between rocks. He couldn't reach it. Now he had less water than before. In his journal, Mike tried to joke. He wondered what his urine would taste like mixed with flavor packets. But beneath the humor, reality was setting in. No one knew where he was. No one knew he was trapped. And help was not on the way. Day 3. Mike wrote about how this trip was supposed to bring him closer to God. And cruelly, it did. This was the most intense spiritual moment of his life. He wrote about changing, being better, appreciating life more when he got out. By day 5, he lost all feeling in one leg. By day 6, the anger came. He wrote about how feeling abandoned, punished, forgotten. And then he wrote a single line that captures the entire story. So lonely, more than I imagined. Not fear, not pain, loneliness. I just cannot imagine the amount of mental torture he went through. Like, you're not hurt, but stuck, and can't go anywhere. Mike ran out of journal pages, so he wrote on whatever he could reach. The margins of his Bible, his stove manual. His handwriting deteriorated. His thoughts turned to regret. Changing the route, chasing Andy, being off trail. He wrote about his children, imagined their lives without him. By the final days, his anger faded. He wrote, "Fill me with peace, Lord. May my condition not deny my love for you. Then, I am ready to die, though I miss my family." His final entry was almost unreadable. 2 words were clear. Love, Dad. Mike removed his wedding ring and placed it on a rock so it wouldn't be lost when his body decomposed. And then he waited. A hiker named Mark, which I named for this story, is not his actual name, eventually found Mike, sitting upright, facing the lake. It looked peaceful, until it wasn't. Mike had been dead for days. As for Andy, Mike's loyal companion, he survived and had escaped, and had tried to lead searchers back toward the area where Mike was. While he was going the right way, he just wasn't fast enough. And here's the part that changes how you hear the whole story. On the day Mike left for his hike, Diane received flowers in the mail. Mike had sent them ahead of time, knowing they would arrive by the time he reached his hiking area. The note read, "Thank you for letting me live this adventure. Wherever I am, whatever I'm doing, I'm thinking of you." Mike never stopped thinking of his family, even when no one could reach him. If today's story meant something to you, A like lets me know you want more stories like this. And if you want to stay here, you're always welcome to subscribe. For those who stayed, I'll see you in the next one.